stacker strip. I don't believe this machine has a stacker with it, but F1 would turn it on and off. The stack count can also be used as a batch count. You dial in the number of hits, and then it will also stop the machine. And on this machine, I believe you have to hit stacker reset to get it started again. F3 is knockout dwell. That is, how long do we allow the knockout cylinders to stay down? The higher the number, the more power you have. The lower the number, the faster the knockouts work, and the faster you can run the press. And in general, the name of the game is usually how many parts can I get done a day. And I'll have to look at the speed chart, but this press runs easily over 100 hits a minute. F4 is your strip feed. If you run strips through this material, then you would go down to F6 and F7, and you would dial in how many punches can I get out of that strip of material. And assuming, say, it's 25, then you'd hit F6, go in and tell it to go 25 times. F7 is the number of feeds that it takes after it's done running the strips. So it serves to get the material out of the die area and also to allow the operator enough time to get the next strip in place ready to go. With this machine on strips, you'd want to make a table or order a table from us, take the feed tray off, and you put in a backstop, and I usually just use cork and rubber strips for that, and also for the side. So I put my strip in, and I butt it against the back and the side. After my number of feeds is done, then the press will start back up automatically if you're in skip cycle automatic or strip feed automatic. I jumped right by F5, which tells it whether we want it to be in skip cycle stop, which means it'll stop and wait, or skip cycle automatic, which will tell it to start over. F8 was actually something we put in for an automatic strip feed table. It puts in a delay before the rollers close so that there's plenty of time for material to be in place. It's really not a necessary control. And then you have batch count at the bottom. And over on F9 on the other side here, you have manual roll feed release on, and you can also change that to auto. In the manual mode, the switch on your machine opens and closes the roller. In the auto mode, the machine will automatically open the front roller whenever it stops. Typically, this is used for strip feed. F10 is the ram dwell. In some cases, particularly material that is a compressed material or a laminate, you need to sometimes hold the die on the material under pressure. This is a control to allow you to do this. A lot of times we can find that you can lower your tonnage on that kind of material if you use the ram dwell. Okay, the accessories are just controls for 110 volt accessories. There's a solid state relay on the back side of the machine that you can hook to, and you could fire an air blow off or run a small conveyor or a knife, a guillotine knife, and you tell it F2 is a dwell time. How long do you want it to happen? Number F3 is how many cycles do you want it to go before it activates. and F4 is manual. The same thing on the bottom, it's just for the other accessory. Okay, the job storage machine, if you wish to use that, when you turn the machine on, once you've loaded a job, then you would hit F1 and it'll load that job for you and you're ready to run. If you want to save a job, then when you're done running the job or whenever you want to save it, you would tell it to store, which is F2. If you try to load a job and there's already one there, it will tell you that, which it is actually telling me that now. If I want to take care of that, then I would hit F3 that says ready to clear, and then I have a few seconds to hit F4 to actually clear the job. Then I can go back and store a job. F5 is your job number, and that goes through most of the screens, but I did want to go back and cover some more on pressure. Okay, when you set the force, which is F2, you should always set that for no more pressure than you need to cut the job. And having a mic stop kind of makes this a dilemma. How do you know whether you're cutting off of the mic stop or off of pressure? And experience is probably the only way to tell that, but it's very important to set this correctly. If this is set correctly, there is no way this machine will come down too hard and break a die or crush a die. And right now we're set for 20 tons. If we were going to run a job, I just moved the camera, I don't know, we would back this knob off and go ahead and make a hit. Then we would turn the knob back in until the press trips. If the press is warmed up, then that's as far as you go. Just relock the knob down. It is a very bad practice to put this knob all the way in and leave it. That's a good way that if there is a problem to crush a die. And I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. One other thing that I wanted to talk about on this part of this is I want to talk about a little bit on the safety. This is your crash block. It's something that should be used. There's a chunk of steel that you'll pull out when you pull this out. At this point, the machine cannot get a punch command. We just opened up the circuit. So then the machine, it's still not safe to reach your hand into the machine. It's only safe to reach your hand into the machine once this steel block is in place. And this steel block is meant to go around the collar of the die. At that point, then it is safe to put your pinkies in there. But I want everybody to keep their pinkies and their hands and their arms. So I can't stress enough using this. Murphy's Law says that anything can and will happen. So according to Murphy's Law, something will happen that will cause the ram to drop, and it will drop when your hand is in there. Now, it's highly unlikely that this would happen, but if you got a block in there, it can't happen. Okay, we're going to shut down now, and I'm going to go a little bit on the mechanics of the machine.